Peter was the person who told me this really pithy quote. In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk.
This guy is a tough nut to try to sort of explain.
Changed money with PayPal, was the first outside investor in Facebook, backed Palantir, which is, I believe they helped find Osama bin Laden.
Almost certainly the most successful technology investor in the world.
I don't think the future is fixed. I think what matters is a question of agency. What I think works really well are sort of one-of-a-kind companies. How do you get from 0 to 1? What great business is nobody building? Tell me something that's true that nobody agrees with you on.
What is AI?
Oh man, that's sort of a big question. And for many years, my bias is probably that AI was one of the worst of all these buzzwords. It meant, the next generation of computers, the last generation of computers, anything in between. So it's meant all these very different things. If we roll the clock back to the 2010s, I would say the AI debate was maybe framed by the two canonical books that framed it. There was the Bostrom book, Superintelligence 2014, where AI was going to be this superhuman, super duper intelligent thing. And then the Bostrom book was the Kai-Fu Lee 2018 AI Superpowers. We can think of the CCP rebuttal to Bostrom, where basically AI was going to be surveillance tech, face recognition, and China was going to win because they had no. And then if we now think about what actually happened, and Chat GPT, it was really neither of those two. And it was this in-between thing, which was actually what people would have defined AI as for the previous 60 or 70 years, which is it's a computer that can pretend to be a human, or that can fool you into thinking it's a human. And even with the fuzziness of that line, you could say that pre-ChatGPT it wasn't passed, and then ChatGPT passed it, and that seems very, very significant. And then obviously it leads to all these questions: what does it mean? Is it going to substitute for people? What does it do to the labor market? So there are all these questions, but it seems extremely important, which I think Silicon Valley is always very bad at talking about. Is like, what does it mean to be a human being?
Right.
2022 answer would be that humans differ from all the other animals because we're good at languages. If you're a 3-year-old or an 80-year-old, you speak, you communicate, we tell each other stories. This is what makes us different. And so yeah, I think there's something about it that's incredibly important and very disorienting. The narrower question I have as an investor is sort of how do you make money with this stuff? And
how do you make money?
It's on the late 90s is sort of the formative period for me, but AI in 2023, 2024 is like the internet in 1999. It's really big. It's going to be very important. It's going to transform the world, not in 6 months, but in 20 years. And what businesses are going to make money? Who's going to have the monopoly? Who's going to have pricing power? Is super unclear. Probably, one layer deeper of analysis, and in AI, it's basically one company is making, NVIDIA is making over 100% of the profits. Everybody else is collectively losing money, and so there's sort of you have to do some sort. You should try to do some sort of analysis. Is it a really durable monopoly? We haven't done anything in semiconductors for a long time.
The word AI and say it's a bunch of process automation. Let's just say that's version 0.1. Where brains that are roughly the equivalent of a teenager can do a lot of. There was a Luddite critique in the 19th century of the factories that people were going to be unemployed and wouldn't have anything to do because the machines would replace the people. Maybe the Luddites are right this time around. So, if you want to be a successful actor, you should be maybe a little bit racist or a little bit sexist or just really funny. And you won't have any risk of the AI replacing you. Everybody else will get replaced, and then probably, Claudine Gay, the plagiarizing Harvard University president. They were all already sort of plagiarizing one another because they were always saying the same thing over and over again.
They were using their own version of
the AI is just going to flood the zone with even more of that. And so they've been able to do it for a long time and no one's noticed. But I think